Are you sitting next to Charles watching the Auburn-Carolina game tonight? Are you in his presence for this?
I might have to be a volunteer official between he and Kenny tonight. I might have to separate those guys.
Okay.
I'm actually preparing to do that in some form or fashion. I imagine it'll get pretty intense with those Tigers and Tar Heels going at it for an opportunity to get to the Elite Eight. It should be great fun, though, I'm sure.
What is that like? Can you take a fan in? What's it like sitting with Charles and obviously Kenny for their alma mater games?
It's wonderful because we all love basketball. There's tremendous mutual respect. We've got a great team when you factor in Wally, who has been in there with us, Serbiak, and Greg Gumbel and Ernie Johnson last week, and the folks you don't see. But just those two guys they're authentic. They're genuine. They're good guys. They love hoops, and they're funny. So it's actually just a really good time to enjoy some laughs while we're talking about college basketball.
So, but you have to get in between them, essentially, at some point. I understand.
I think I might because it's all now. You know, all of the talk leading up to it, Rich, is fun and games, but the real deal happens tonight, and one of those teams is moving on to the Elite Eight, and I think as alums of those schools, I know how I would feel and have felt when the Buckeyes have been in that position in basketball, football, or other sports. It's part of where your heart is when you talk about your alma mater having success. So I know it'll be pretty intense and emotional in there for those guys tonight.
Yeah, we don't talk Ohio State football around here, Clark. You know what I mean? We don't.
Oh, you don't? Okay, my bad. My bad.
Yeah.
It's just kind of
we just gloss
on my heart and
we gloss
in my mind on occasion because of being so attached to that place, and I still live in Columbus, so it's not too far from my mind and my tongue.
Great spot. It really is. I'm obviously just having fun. With Houston and Kentucky, how does that match up tonight before I let you go here, Clark?
Well, a big question mark is P.J. Washington's availability, and even if he can play, what level of effectiveness will he have? I think Houston is one of the more undervalued and underappreciated teams in the country. They don't do it with great flash, but they do play top-shelf defense. I think in defensive efficiency, when you look at some of the sabermetrics, they may be number one in the country overall in defensive efficiency. I think that's Ken Palm's statistical measure. They rebound at a high level. They've got a great shot maker and scorer in Corey Davis Jr., and although Armani Brooks has struggled in the tournament, he's a 40% three-point shooter on the season and very dangerous. And they got a number of good young players that I think are competitive, that are not afraid, and that really relish this opportunity to surprise the world. I actually picked them to go to the Final Four. I'm actually leaning towards Carolina coming out of there now, but I give Houston a really good chance to prevail in tonight's game.
So who did you have in your bracket before I let you go here?
Well, I had two brackets. I did one on Selection Sunday night on the air once we got done with the selection show, and that was 3 number 1 seeds, Duke. The 3 number 1 seeds, and then Houston was my kind of outlier. I like to try to at least have one team that's maybe a little bit off the radar. And then I did another one that was published on CBSSports.com, presented there, and that was Michigan State with Gonzaga, Houston, and Virginia, with Gonzaga winning it all in both of the brackets.
Look at you. You are very much alive right now, Clark Kellogg, on your brackets. Very much
it can all change in a heartbeat, though, Rich.
Tell me about it. Last night was an unmitigated disaster as Tennessee and Michigan go out for me, but that's just me. But that's the beauty of this thing, man, right?
Playing bracketologists, man.
I know that. Hey, Clark, thanks for the call. Have a great time calling. You're calling it on Westwood One, the Final Four, and the National Championship.
I'll be there for the 3 games on the weekend. Yeah, I always look forward to that the last few years. I got my start in radio way back with the Pacers, so it's kind of back to the future, and it's nice to have a full plate those 2 days at the Final Four.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.